Hey, it
And
worked.
it worked. We're live. Wow, it was like a professional show. It was pretty exciting on this
Nice.
side of the screen. Welcome to episode 36 of the Star Wars Reporter podcast. We're going to be talking about, of course, The Mandalorian, Chapter 10. We're also going to be talking about the new Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. I could barely say that without laughing. And some merchandise and other Star Wars stuff, or maybe we'll just kind of talk about our feelings. So welcome.
Yeah.
So of course, I'm Wookie Steve, and I'm here with Trooper Todd and
Hey.
Jason, who we'll get a name for.
We will eventually.
Yeah, man. I mean, thought about that. Yeah.
It's okay.
No.
Jason's a cool name. Wear a hockey mask. It's wrong movie franchise, but you fit right in.
No,
That's
right.
right.
I've been working that for decades, man.
I think actually back in high school, me and Steve would fight all the time about. I was a big, huge Jason fan from the Friday the 13th, and Steve would make fun of me all the time.
And it's funny because I've come full circle. Jason is my favorite.
What?
And I don't understand this Michael Myers crap.
Yeah, because like he's so one-dimensional. Like doesn't talk. Well, wait a second.
And he looks like Captain Kirk. Dumb.
It'd be better if he was Luke Skywalker. Star Wars was made earlier, maybe.
Oh yeah, messed up Luke Skywalker mask.
Exactly.
So for those that don't know that are watching us either on Facebook or YouTube, you can now watch us on Facebook and YouTube. So we're live on both. So I was just looking at it. You can make some comments. Hopefully you can take part in the chat, and we will try to answer if you come up. And of course, I'm totally expecting hundreds of people to be watching us right now. So
why stop at hundreds? Why stop at hundreds? Thousands. Once they know Jason's here, everybody's going to come.
Yeah, the tens of thousands of my fans, they'll be there.
What's really funny about that, I think I've told this story before. Back in the day when I was on the other site, Jason with the other network site, and we were doing this podcast that used to be called Random Fandom, and we had like 800 people in the chat and talking and stuff. And I remember while the other guys were talking, I text to my wife upstairs. I'm like, there's like 800 people listening to us talk right now. And my wife texts back, and I quote, "Who the hell would want to listen to you talk?" And then so what I did is I put the phone up to the camera to show everyone. I told everyone, and she was pretty embarrassed about it. But
she has a unique perspective on that.
So. Well, I mean, she doesn't want to listen to me, so I mean, why would anyone else?
Yeah.
But
I'm sure she loves listening to you. Just maybe gets tired of it.
You're so positive.
She's like, I've seen this before.
So, Chapter 10, The Passenger,
Chapter
guys. Chapter 10. Some I've been kind of looking at the chatter online, and some people are calling it filler. What do you guys think? Let's kind of start with what you guys think, and if you guys think it's filler.
Okay. Because I don't know if you remember season 1, there was 2 episodes I didn't care for because I thought they were filler. Remember, because it didn't progress the story. So far, I thought these first 2 episodes haven't really, to me, I haven't progressed the story that much. But having said that, I still found this episode thoroughly entertaining and really, really good. So that's my stance. Is it filler? Technically, because it didn't really evolve anything except introduce another new character, which is this frog lady.
The frog lady.
The frog lady. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree, actually. I was thinking a lot about that. And honestly, this whole series, even, in the first season, I thought too, I began to notice one thing. I'm like, they're definitely stretching out the storyline. Like it seems it never goes from point A to B. It definitely, like if this was a video game, you go on like 10 side quests before you get to the main deal. And I felt that too. Like the first episode of season 2, it was just, like fun to be back, and it was pretty epic. And, even that episode, I'm like, well, okay, he did get the armor, and that was something. But yeah, this episode, I thought at the very least, let's get the frog lady to where she's going. I thought would be how they would cap it off, and then from there maybe he'd learn something about the Mandalorians, or at least the right direction to go. So I was a little surprised that it ended where it did. It was also a short episode. It was like 40 minutes long, and I thought, well, maybe if it was like 55 minutes an hour, it could, if it had kept going and we just got a little more of a resolution, at least with his journey in this one. I enjoyed the adventure. I enjoyed the environments, and it's always great to see X-Wing fighters. And
Well,
the action of it was fun, but did we didn't really get much.
Yeah, for me, it might have felt like a filler for a bit. I watched it a couple of times, and I think what I appreciate is the fact that they're throwing in a lot of stuff for the fans, like the big spider monster thing at the end. That was a Ralph McQuarrie concept art creature, right? So, to me, when I see things like that, even in an episode where it's like he's kind of doing that kind of that video game take escort character, to another place, get your gold, and move on to the next quest. It's that kind of care, the small details, like I think I talked about before with Filoni and Favreau. It's that kind of like as if fans were writing the scripts, and they kind of are, right? So it's I felt this episode was more comedy driven. There was always some kind of joke, right? Even the Mando was kind of like was lighthearted, and as much as you could see his face, Baby Yoda eating the eggs, that kind of stuff, and there was this constant kind of lightheartedness throughout the entire episode. I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was, and like as Jason said earlier, like for me being a Star Wars fan, of course, every time you see an X-wing outside of a Star Wars movie, it's pretty exciting. And so when you see those X-wing fighters, and then of course I got, like the week before, I got really hung up on Timothy Oliphant. I got distracted by it. It's Timothy Oliphant. So this time they have a guest star, and one of the X-wing pilots is Appa from Kim's Convenience. I'm a big Kim's Convenience fan. I don't know if you get to watch down there, Jason, in the States, because it's a Canadian show. It's a fantastic, it's probably one of the top 3 Canadian shows ever made. Appa. So his name, I think his name is Jason. What's his name? I have it here actually. I don't know his real name. I know his character. Oh, it's Paul. I'm gonna screw this up. Paul Sun Hyman Lee is his name. And of course, I saw one. Is that him? Is that Kim? Is that Appa? And so the whole entire time I saw him, I'm just trying to analyze, is that him? Again, and once I figured out it was him, it's like, wow, that's pretty cool that Canadian guy gets a big shot. And of course, he's a huge Star Wars fan too. Like,
he's part of the 501st Legion.
Yeah, exactly. I think you, as a Star Wars reporter, Steve, I think you had some pictures of him from dressing up in cosplay and all his group sort of thing, right? Is that you the post for that? Yeah. So it's kind of neat to see this Canadian guy. And actually, there's another guy living in the Disney world. The next one of the big Marvel movies come up is help me out, the martial arts guy. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he plays the son from the show Kim's Convenience. He's gonna be one of the next big Marvel characters coming up soon.
Right.
What's it called? I can't believe I forgot his name. I'm terrible with names. I'll research it. I'll get back to you guys. But so that was pretty cool seeing that in the episode. Although I have one disappointment when I saw snow, they went down, and I thought for sure when they're walking through the cave, I was hoping so much that we would see a Wampa. I wanted to see a Wampa. I won't lie. The spider looked awesome, but I really wanted to see a Wampa. If I saw a Wampa, right? Like, when Mando's, the frog disappeared, right? And he's following the tracks. Yeah. And I thought for sure we're going to come in and go right into it looked like a cave. I went, oh, it's a Wampa cave. And it's like,
yeah, because they made it a point too to kind of pan up to like the stalactites. And I thought, oh wow, it's looking right there. This is like a Wampa cave.
Yeah, and I think they're trolling the audience. Do you think that?
Yeah, possibly, for sure.
I think they're trolling us. They're going, oh, here comes the Wampa. Oh, it's a spider. Okay, the spider's cool. but I wanted a Wampa.
Right?
Like, had a little
Maybe
frog laying a Wampa in the hot tub, right?
the frog lady in the hot tub was murder. The highlight for me was the frog lady, like suddenly I wasn't expecting that on all fours and sprinting, and I was like, there we go. Like,
and I talked about this in season 1 is how good everything looks. I thought after episode 1, okay, they blew the budget with that big sandworm, right? Then this,
right.
like the spider looked fantastic. The creature, I'm sure it's CG for the head moving, the eyes moving. I'm guessing it is, but man, that looks fantastic. And quite frankly, for a character who doesn't say anything, like you're saying, Steve, it added so much comedy to the episode. The fact that she couldn't speak English and he didn't understand whatever language. And I have no idea what you're speaking. Like it was so good, right?
I think he even said, "I don't speak frog."
I don't speak frog. Yeah. Even I went, "There's frogs in space," but it doesn't really matter. They picked a name that all the audience would understand, but it was so. The character looks so cool, and just how the eyes and the cheeks and just the detail went into this little character. And then, like Jason was saying, when it started running and sprinting, it's like, oh, it is a frog. It looks so cool.
Yeah.
She like hopped right by him, kind of.
Yeah.
It's pretty creepy too, when the spider things infiltrating his ship. Like that was actually pretty tense, and he couldn't shut the door to the cockpit. He finally had to use a flamethrower to get him.
Yeah,
right.
I was pretty cool. I was sitting on the edge of my seat going, how are they going to get out of this? Like, the hull's breached. They're inside the ship. Like, what's going to go on? I kind of thought the X-Men guys would come back, but it was, they were saying that what are they going to do? They're going to be stuck in the cockpit forever? It was pretty spectacular, I thought.
I like the fact that Filoni made himself into an X-Wing pilot again. I mean, he's living the nerd dream, right? That was my dream.
Yeah, that was the other pilot again. Dave Filoni.
Well, see, I thought they took another character from the original Star Wars movie and put him in. That's why I thought the first shot, it looked like old footage, and that's what I thought. I didn't realize
he looked like a classic X-Wing pilot.
Yeah.
we all three of us would look like classic X-Wing pilots. You get us into gear. We're like,
like Mr. Favreau, Mr. Filoni. Come on, look at us right now. We're in our cockpit. I can act.
Perfect, right?
No, I was freaking out too about my family and I watched Kim's Convenience. Maybe it's just a Canadian thing, but it's such a good show, and it's so funny because in the show he's this Korean store owner and he talks with this accent, and that's not him, right? So you see him in here, and he's kind of battling wits with the Mandalorian, like oh, how about we make a deal? Because he's been bargaining this whole time, and he's trying to make another bargain with the X-Wing pilots. And they're like, no, how about you fix your own thing, fix your beacon later? You know what I mean?
And just leave him there, right? That was so awesome.
That was pretty funny. I was like, I figured they were going to help him. Like,
Jason, Kim's Convenience, look it up. It's very, very good.
It's such a good show.
I'll have to.
And there's an actual location in Toronto. They don't use the inside. Obviously, it's a stage, but on the outside, it's a real place, and they just put the sign over it. But it became so big and popular that the owners, it's called something else. The owners just leave the sign up. It says Kim's Convenience on it.
There'll be tons of people who visit that place for sure.
Oh, my cool. Oldest daughter, whenever we get to travel and have lives again, is wanting to go there, right? I'm like 2 hours away. So it's like, we're going to be doing that trip in Toronto. It's like, where are you going? 7-Eleven. So, now, do you, like, it seemed to me like the only thing that I would say would be like, because I'm trying not to be so fanboy. The only thing I would say is, everything kind of seemed to move in a formula. It seemed a little easy at somewhat, right? It was a lot of close calls that he was bailed out of at the end. And by the way, the spider things, there's nothing more than I hate in life than spiders. I totally hate that scene when it was coming out. I'm like, no. It was just like in Harry Potter, the second Harry Potter. And that spider came over the hill. I'm like, oh, I hate this movie. There's spiders everywhere in that movie.
Well, that's just, I think, again, the creators probably went, okay, what's one thing that people are like, there's so many people who have arachnophobia or afraid of spiders. I'm one of those. My wife, my kids, my daughter. My daughter, if her spider's near her, she'll cry. So it just makes you feel uneasy having this little spider, millions of little spiders, but then one big giant one. That's creepy.
Hey, Todd, speaking of, I just thought of this story. You remember back in the day, we were like, I don't know, 8 years old.
I remember being 8 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember there was this time you and I were playing across the creek. Remember the creek?
Yeah, I remember the creek in the backyard. Yep.
And I don't know, it was probably a tiny little flood of water. We're across the way and we're sitting on this big flat rock.
The spider, big spider on the rock.
You remember that?
Oh, it's terrifying. I remember. So, Jason, you weren't there. So we're sitting on this rock. We're talking about probably Star Wars or something.
All right.
Steve gets, he's like, oh, he bolts. He leaves me there.
I didn't tell him when I was running.
And then he's like,
"That's not an uncommon story with a confrontation with spiders, man."
And look, everyone has one. It was a huge spider. Steve, am I wrong? Huge. It was like huge.
It was huge.
I remember being black and white. Do you remember?
Yes.
And
was it like big? A dog spider or something?
I have no idea, but
it was
for Ontario, I've never seen anything like that before. It was massively big, like easily, I would say the size of my fist.
Yeah,
when you say
it was massive.
I know we're young.
Northern Canada, like, how is that even a thing?
And I never seen anything like that before. Again, it wasn't moving, so maybe it was fake, but it didn't look fake. It looked real.
Well, when I saw it, I remember.
Did you fake it? Was it a fake spider?
No. You said something, and I was laughing, and I remember looking over, and it was coming over the rock like this.
Okay, I didn't see it moving.
I just got up and ran, and I could hear you going, "What? What?" And I think I yelled over my shoulder, "Spider!" I couldn't care less.
And then I saw it, and I went, "Oh!" I just remember screaming and yelling. I screamed about like a little girl. I had high decibels.
Yeah.
But dude, he left me, Jason. He left me.
Hey,
leave no man behind. You're just like Luke Skywalker, the guy trapped inside the snow speeder. You left him.
It's disappointing because I picture Steve as like the Samwise of the party, and when Shelob shows up, I mean, he's just gonna run.
Nah. I'm sorry. Sauron would have won that battle because I would have gone no further. I would have left the ring there and said, "Here you go, later.
See you, Frodo.
Goodbye." Are you kidding me? Like a 2-ton spider? Nah, brah. But anyways, getting back to it, I kind of liked the fact that, filler or not, I like that they're injecting bits and pieces of the universe as they go, and it's mostly all different. And this for sure was something different, and that they're pulling from archives, pulling from the universe and not making anything up. And it's kind of like it's consistent with the universe that we know. So, and I heard a rumor that one video was like, is the Mandalorian going to be changing canon, but the canon that was in the sequels because of certain things? Like, are they subtly rewriting certain things? It's really interesting. So
you think they would have,
but I don't want to
live,
get into.
Yeah.
They're a long way from that, though. You're still many years. You're right after Return of the Jedi, and what is the span? It's 30 years, give or take. I don't know. We'll see, but I don't know if they're going to rewrite anything from the sequel trilogy from The Mandalorian. I mean, at least it doesn't seem like that now. It's taken us a long time just to get from A to B, in The Mandalorian itself. So,
I don't know.
So go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I interrupted. I thought you were done. Sorry, buddy.
No, it's all right. I was just gonna say though that this episode and the talk though of it kind of being fillery did have me thinking about, well, okay, where are we, going, or how long? Like, is the child going to be a mystery for 4 or 5 seasons, or where are we ultimately going? Like. Because it has been, okay, we're in the 10th episode, and I have no idea how long this is going to go for, but it does have me, I was thinking, just before we got on the air about the span of the story. It is taking its time, and that in itself is fine. Like, go ahead and take your time, but you gotta move it somewhat. And I was just really thinking about that. I'm like this episode was, it was filler to me. It was as much fun as it was. It was fun. It was entertaining, like we're saying.
Yeah.
But on the grander scale, I'm like, well, this didn't really move the plot like anywhere. I don't know. Like the first 2 episodes, all the story combined you could have had in like 15 minutes or something. Like,
See, I'll be upset if they finally get this frog lady to her husband, and ends up being nothing. I'll be upset with that because then it's kind of a waste of a time. But if he ends up being an intricate character that helps his journey, then it makes sense. Because things happen. You drive. If I drive from Nanaimo to Calgary, there's going to be certain situations. I'm going to need some gas. I'm going to stop. I might meet somebody, or something might happen when I stop at that gas station, right? So it's kind of like that sort of thing. Things happen on the way, right? So I don't mind it as long as it leads to something that when they get there, it has to mean something. Otherwise, like if the next episode the frog lady's gone, well then, yeah.
You know what would lend weight to exactly what you're saying, and would lend weight to this episode, if her thing with the eggs and all that, which and that was another funny thing actually, was the child just consistently obsessively eating the eggs. If they hold some weight and really turn out to be something important, so no, you're absolutely right, and that's fair. That's fair. If what we saw in this episode, if the different factors and if those things add up to something as we go, then it's definitely more palpable to me for sure.
So question I have for you guys, the very end of the episode, the eggs are all shut up. She's sleeping with the eggs, and then Mandalorian falls asleep. Baby Yoda pulls out an egg again and eats it. Did he do one of those force grabs where he went through with the force and pulled it out?
I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, I guess we were just supposed to suppose that he snuck it out. I don't know, but she was holding on to
they were holding on
to the container at that point.
And he didn't grab it when they're running from the spiders, so it's just But anyway,
right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Did he teleport it?
That's how do you guys feel about the whole Star Wars? The grabbing from somewhere else and pulling it out of your hat sort of thing from Rise of Skywalker. They kind of brought that in.
I'm not a fan.
Okay, we're all not a fan of that. Okay, what are you, Jason? How do you feel about the whole force pull?
What are we talking about specifically? Like what scene?
Well, it came up in Rise of Skywalker, right? Rise of Skywalker. When Kylo Ren and Rey had their bond, they were able to pull something out, right? When was the necklace thing at the end where he pulled the lightsaber, right?
That she had in her hand.
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I you know what I took the lightsaber. I thought that was because she went across over her back with it. And I just figured we didn't see it, but off camera, he just force grabbed it, and it went straight into his hand.
But when he was on the planet and he got the necklace, so he knew where she was.
Yeah.
Like
remember when they were having their little bond moment?
Okay, I took that as singular, just to those two, with the whole connection that they were. I mean, because it's just as extraordinary that they were in the same space with each other, though they're across the galaxy.
Yeah.
I thought that kind of established with the necklace and all that. I thought it just showed that since they were able to sort of occupy the same space, even though being so far away, I thought that was just to kind of emphasize that. To really hone in on that, it's stretching the force, maybe to its limit there in a way, but that's how I just took it. That was a special thing between those two, which would equate to the dyad in the force, and just really meant that they're really bonded, and that space is not a factor in their specific relationship. So it didn't bother me. I could see where it would. Some people would be like, that's a bit of a stretch, but I kind of understood in the context of connecting her and Kylo.
So
I was kind of not on board with that. I just thought it was kind of like them trying. It was either them trying to make the Force really or more mystical, or it was kind of like a lazy plot point. It was kind of like in the new Star Trek movies where they're able to teleport across the universe to the Klingon planet. You know what I mean? It's like that was never a thing, right? They could teleport from the ship to the planet. Now because they have this technology that boosts something, they can now, the plot is a whole bunch of them teleport to the Klingon planet. And it just kind of felt like the plot needed Kylo Ren to have the lightsaber. They were being dramatic about it. It's like, she's got both lightsabers. Is she going to throw him one? Oh no, he's got it in his hand. Or they were trying to make it like, this kind of mystical thing where he was able to grab the necklace. It's like, wow, they really were there together. I think they were experimenting, and
that's funny because I sincerely, with the necklace I caught, I sincerely thought with the saber, but now that you guys are talking about it, no, it was, I guess it was just like teleported.
Yeah, exactly.
The first few times I saw it, I sincerely thought she went back like that, and my mind saw it as a lightsaber went and zipped straight from back, and he caught it. I thought he caught it like from her hand, like it actually physically flew into his hand. That's what I thought. But now, even just talking about it, they never showed it like that. They never showed the saber actually move, as you're saying. They just showed it in his hand, which I'm sure was the intent. But I actually thought it flew. That's what my mind saw it as.
Well, I think your mind's filling in blanks, sort of thing. But like you're making it make sense. But although I'm going to admit, after your explanation, I'm now buying into the whole thing of them being able to sharing that astral plane of sharing things. I now buy it much more. I didn't look at it that way originally. I went, like Steve was saying, okay, it looks like a little plot point. They're just trying to write themselves around. But now when you explain it that way, you deep dive into the whole entire reasons why it could happen. It's possible. Yeah, it makes sense. So good job. You kind of wowed me over on that now.
Well, because if you think about it too, their swords, they dueled, right? They fought, and they weren't in the same space. So if you look at it like that, their sabers were physically clashing, which is really the same stretch as saying that, well, he's got the necklace. Then it's not that much more of a stretch.
Yeah, good point. I'm buying into it. So what a baby Yoda used to get that egg?
No idea.
The original question was, how did he get that freaking egg?
I bet you it was just
sleight of hand.
He had stolen a couple and maybe hid some in his pocket or something. So
then why would he go and eat?
Let me ask him.
What you ask him? Yes.
Yeah. Let's see.
I'm just kidding. You're not really waiting for an answer, are you?
Well, I thought maybe it spoke.
I was hoping you were going to squeeze it and it was going to say something.
Yeah,
everyone in my house is fighting over this. Everyone says it belongs to them.
How can you have it then?
On the receipt, so
Well, there you go. If you bought it,
it actually belongs to me.
Reach in and grab it, Jason. Reach in and grab it.
Let's see if it works across the our podcast here. If I can grab it.
Here's that new animatronic one too.
Oh wow!
So you did force grab it. Oh.
Wow.
The force.
Oh wow! Must have.
Wow,
it's pretty wild.
It's pretty cool.
And when you lay him down, his eyes close and he starts snoring. Let's see if I can get this.
He does.
Oh. He'll start snoring. Maybe he knows that.
He's live streaming. He can't snore.
Anyways, he's snoring.
That's cool.
I have a question about the child. Do we know if is it a guy? Is it a little girl?
They've referred to Baby Yoda as him a few times.
Okay.
Stuff, so
it kind of looks like it would be a him, but I wasn't really sure though.
We haven't seen a female of the species yet, so what do they look like?
Well, they've got makeup and
the sand people, the women, men, they all look the same.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They did differentiate them though in clones a little bit, but I guess that's just like I don't know.
So I want to go back to the egg. I'm going back to the egg because
Yes.
why would Baby Yoda open the little cocoon and eat the spider if it had another egg?
There's a great mystery of this episode we must unravel.
It was cute, but maybe a little plot hole. I just thought I was maybe reading too much into it. I don't know. I thought maybe
I was wondering the same thing though. As I saw it, I'm like, oh, he's got an egg. Is he saving it, or did he just grab it? Or
because they went to full detail to show them lock and seal that case. You know what I'm saying? Because they drew attention to the fact they're locking and sealing it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have to. They wouldn't show that. So the fact that they showed that, then all of a sudden, I have an egg. Just makes me think that it's something more than just. It might not be the last time we see him grab something, maybe. But again, I'm stretching. I'm making things up. We're killing time here, so.
No, it's all right. No, it's interesting to speculate though, in context of this episode for sure. And he's a hungry little guy too, to be going after the spider eggs as well. That was actually another just real quick point that I thought of. Like the first episode kind of was reminiscent to us of Dune, and then it was Tremors, right? And then Tremors as well. And then that, of course, that whole scene with the spider eggs was totally Alien, like the original Alien.
That's what I thought too. Yes.
And that field of eggs, and even the way they came out, and even how they looked, I'm like, that's like a total, like almost a nod to Alien, which I thought was interesting. How the first episode, was almost obvious nods to Dune and some other things. But
maybe they're doing something like, you guys ever watch the show Community?
Yes.
So they always did little nods to other film styles and stuff like that. So maybe they're paying homage to other films and stuff like that. Because what you're saying, Jason, is exactly what I thought of too. He's walking through, there's all these pods exactly like Aliens, and it kind of even opened up this kind of same way, right?
Right.
So it's too identical to be by an accident, right? You know what I'm saying? It's I think they're doing exactly what you're thinking of. Is like last one you said. I thought Tremors. You thought it was Dune, and so I think that's what they're doing, very cleverly.
I'd be curious to see if I'd be curious if one day we learn, if that was with intent.
I'm sure they'll have a little special edition thing like they did for the first season. I don't know if you guys ever seen the first season. They had all the directors on. They had a little special. How they broke down the Mandalorian. Yeah, it was really, really good. I watched that after I watched episode 1.
It's really good.
Episode. Yeah, it's really good. Just all the different directors and how they all came together, and just so I'm pretty sure that will come out. Maybe it's a theme for this second season to do homages to other films.
Did you the one episode of that series, the behind the scenes? It was the episode called The Directors. Where the directors are all around the table.
Yeah, that's one.
Did you also notice that awkward moment between Favreau and Kennedy when he was like, so Favreau was kind of running the table and Kathleen Kennedy's sitting to his right and the directors are all around the table. Go back and watch it, because then he's like, I forget what he asked them about, kind of where they come from with Star Wars and blah blah blah, and he goes to start with Filoni, and then Kathleen Kennedy jumps in and she's like, well, I'll tell you a story about George and stuff. And it just looked like he was kind of like, okay,
here we go.
He tells this long story about George and blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, okay, so we'll now go around the table. It was just really like, oh, you have to go back and watch that. So
I'll have to go back and watch that again. Yeah, for sure.
It was right in the beginning. So it's just like, I was like, oh, awkward.
Is she done now? Is she out now? She's out now, right? After Rise of Skywalker?
She's fulfilling her contract, but probably
I don't think so.
I don't know. There's so much going on out there. It's like they're probably not going to re-sign her at the end of the year, and maybe Favreau will take over.
Oh,
that's what it's sounding like. So, but we'll see. I'm not Bob.
That's going to be an interesting time.
I think they need a new leader to come in and run the show, right? Like, she's had her time. She had the prequels and she had the last 3, and okay, they're mixed reviews from fans and critics alike.
Right.
everybody loves the Mandalorian. It's pretty hot right now, right? So
yeah, the future. So I think I want to kind of jump into this new holiday special.
yes,
Now, everyone, so Lego's coming out, and it's so perfect, right? There was this kind of rumor that they're going to be doing a holiday special. Actually, Jon Favreau, speaking of,
yes.
he made a comment. It was over a year ago on some kind of a red carpet, and it came up as in, the holiday special, the 1978 one. And he was saying he would love to do a holiday special and we need a new one. And everyone thought he was joking. And I think he was really serious, and I would have loved it. I'm like, if Jon Favreau does it and does it the same way where he brings in celebrity guests and he does cheesy stuff that makes you go, what is going on? That would be the best. But
No, it wouldn't.
it'd be so like the most weird celebrities we have nowadays are just like awkward script writing, and it would just be kind of funny. Now, when they made this announcement, it was going to be the Lego. Like, how perfect Star Wars Lego would be if you're going to do a holiday special to have them do it, because it's hilarious.
Yeah,
And
the
it's
Lego
looking
stuff
funny
is
in the trailer.
cool. Yeah.
And just from the trailer alone, I love the whole entire concept of the trailer or of the holiday special is awesome. But going back in time and you have all the movies and it's just going to be wild. It looks like good time anyway.
It's almost like a Christmas Carol, right? Except, it's like, Ray's going back in different parts in time, except she's not like, Scrooge and has to go back and learn to be a better person. She's just going back in time,
but it looks like they all do though.
Yeah, there's like
because the Emperor gets it too. It looks like this mystical key.
Yes,
and then there's also the Vader's back with Luke on Tatooine. He goes, "My son." I mean, the two suns up in the sky, right? So obviously they all kind of get caught up in this and go back in time.
And they had me at Ewoks. As soon as I saw the Ewoks,
oh yes,
for sure,
Steve
I
Ewoks.
was so signed.
Lego Ewoks, Steve. Don't get too excited. They're Lego Ewoks.
No, they're
Ewok
real.
is an Ewok, dude. An Ewok is an Ewok.
I'm not an Ewok hater, so it's okay. I would love to see an Ewok come up. They do a little trip to Endor. I'd be okay with that. They go to Tatooine. Why not Endor?
Yeah. That's what I would love to. That's the one thing, right? I'd love to see what happened. I know loosely from the EU that some of the Ewoks kind of went out into the universe after the Battle of Endor, right? Like they kind of went out with the rebels. And there was a book written recently. I forget the name of it, where there was an Ewok hacker, basically, who's good with computers and tech and stuff, is one of the characters in this book. So, some of them would want to leave the planet and adapt and learn a little bit of English or
understand the language anyway.
Understand whatever language, the common language or whatever. So, it'd be cool to see them throw in Endor or an Ewok on a ship somewhere.
It would. I thought for sure in Rise of Skywalker, and they're going down to where the Death Star remains, where I thought we might see an Ewok pop up here and there. Because technically, wouldn't that be Endor? Where the Death Star was destroyed and is on.
I think it was on.
It was on the planet.
The big planet.
Because Endor is the moon, right? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, never mind.
Because I was all excited. I'm like,
Ewoks.
That's the Death Star 2, so we're going to see Ewoks, but it was not the moon.
Yeah, it's not the moon, of course. It was the moon. But yeah, an Ewok, I'm sure. I can't see them making this series and not having an Ewok pop up eventually. That just makes no sense.
You would think. I don't know what's going on with them. So I think they have up to the 4th season now. Like, I think they're filming the next season soon or something, but I think they've signed for at least 4 seasons so far. Like, the plan is. So, a couple more seasons, I better see an Ewok.
Like
It works
not
out
on a
pretty well.
barbecue spit, like right? Like you don't want them being cooked or anything. Like some bounty hunters cooking an Ewok on a barbecue. You don't want to see that.
No, I think it's the other way around for the stormtroopers. So the the rumor about Ewoks eating the stormtroopers during that celebration.
Well, that makes sense.
Great.
They played on it in one of the comics. It was supposed to be just after, and everyone's celebrating, and there's different people talking, and there's two pilots talking. He's like, where'd they get this meat? And the other guy goes, I don't even want to know, and just keeps eating. Because
Oh man.
Well, it makes sense. They were going to eat everybody else. They're going to eat Han. They're going to eat Luke, right?
Well, there was that comic series too. I forget what it was, but it was telling about kind of at one point it was like the perspective of the stormtroopers. So when the Empire first gets to the planet, they weren't nice to the Ewoks. The Ewoks were all like curious, like, oh, what are these things? And they would like started shooting the Ewoks. So then the Ewoks were like vengeance, right? So they would like just hang around waiting for them and like kill stormtroopers and like brutalize them. And there was this one scene where there's a few stormtroopers standing there, and there's this noose coming down to one in the back, and they yank him up, and the stormtroopers narrating, it's like, and then when we found him, what they did to him and stuff like this, and it shows them looking at this bloody stormtrooper. It was like,
that's good. Give them a
wow.
little bit of savagery,
Yeah, absolutely. Because they look so cute and cuddly, but really, they're primitive creatures out there, right? And hunting and gathering, surviving.
Murder bears, isn't that what they're called?
That with Return of the Jedi, like, what if like the scene like with Han, it just he wasn't rescued and just went on. It could have been pretty gruesome.
Yeah, it would have been bad.
What if
been roasted, or burned alive, and eaten? Right? That's how That's how Harrison Ford really wanted to go. Actually,
to be eaten by Ewoks.
Yeah, he wanted the character to die, in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Let that scene just go. Don't have him save me.
That's so funny. Oh, hey, I think I posted this. This is available for pre-order. Crap. Hang on a second.
Ooh.
Through Hasbro, the Black Series, the Mandalorian helmet. Available for pre-sale.
Oh, that's nice.
Is that a full-size one?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Check out the Hasbro site, and it's on there. It's pre-order. It's like $119 or something.
Wow.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I remember seeing the picture, and I showed my wife, and I'm like, Christmas. She's like, dork. She didn't say it.
Her eyes said it.
Her eyes and the disapproving mouth.
I gave my wife and kids always say I'm terrible to buy for. They have no idea. So I gave them a whole shopping list of different Star Wars action figures to order or buy or something like that, because they always say, like, don't have to buy them all, just buy some of them, right? So
right.
So that
I've done the same thing. I've done the same thing, and my wife goes, she never buys from it. She's like, it's dumb, and I don't want to order this stuff online. And then I'm always looking on Facebook. My friends are like, look what my wife got me. And it's like this and that. I'm like, these socks are so warm, though.
The beard with the Mandalorian helmet. You'd have to, if you were a Mandalorian, what would you do with the beard?
I would put more braids in it. Well, I mean,
your enemies
from one of those
from miles away be like, there's Steve. We got him.
So, guys, actually, we were just talking about the Mandalorian, the helmet there, right? I don't know if you guys ever watched it. There's a YouTube channel called Corridor Crew, and they deal with special effects and such.
Right.
And so every now and then they'll do they break down good and bad visual effects, but sometimes they invite stuntmen to go. So they have creators, they have CG guys reacting to stunts. So they bring on this one woman who comes on all the time, and she did all the stunts. Like, remember at the end of season 1 where the Mandalorian, the maker, where she makes the suits, she had the big fight with all the stormtroopers. She did all the stunt work. She did the whole entire fight scene in the suit. And so it's called Corridor Crew. and Stuntmen React, and it's called it's episode 23. You should check it out. It's pretty sweet.
That's cool.
That's cool.
She talked about how like the one question they asked her was like, how practical is the Mandalorian suit? She says, "Oh, it's terrible." She says for her because it had the big fur. She said the fur was so hot and it's the mask fogging up, and what was really cool. She was saying too. Again, I don't want to give it all away, but it's really good. Just how it breaks down the whole entire scene. And she said that the Filoni, they really like to get coverage. So what they do. Like lots of times when they do action scenes, they'll just one up. So they'll break it down, do this shot. For this show, they won everything. So they'd do the whole fight scene from this angle, the whole fight scene from this angle, the whole fight scene from this angle, and they just shot the whole entire fight scene. The cameras would follow them around. And they said it was just amazing. And so she said it's very tiring, but it didn't. Just the whole fighting with the costumes and that her weapon, she had the hammer and stuff, right? So because the suits were protecting the stuntmen a bit, and of course it's not a real hammer, it's kind of foam. They're like the stuntmen were telling her to hit it, like get her to hit them. So when she's hitting them, the mask would break sometimes. The mask broke, and they would get a new mask and do it again. So it's just pretty cool. Because we like Star Wars, we like Mandalorian. You should guys check that out too. It's pretty cool. I can try and.
That is cool.
Yeah, I'll find the link. I'll put
it real hammers. I'm disappointed.
No, well, I guess they don't want to kill anybody. Apparently, bunch of softies, right?
Hollywood's so fake.
Yeah. I can't believe the Mandalorian's not real.
I know, right? But
it's supposed to be authentic Star Wars.
But this neat little thing you don't usually see is you can see it from the stuntman's perspective, how they break down a scene and how they do it, sort of thing. And just the talking about how they make it look so cool when you're watching as a viewer, but how hard it is for these people to pull it off in these outfits. Like stormtroopers, they can't see half the time, they apparently, right? Yeah, so it's amazing how they make it look so good when they're doing what they do.
It's funny through the years, just hearing people and, all throughout the entire Star Wars saga and, and so many other movies, just how hot everyone's always burning alive in these alien costumes or the enemy's armor or whatever. You're stifling in these things.
Yeah. It's the thing with the stormtrooper armor. I remember reading somewhere, the joke is the armor doesn't work, right? They get shot, they're out of it, they're dead. Well, if it's hitting the armor, from what I understand, that it absorbs some of the it absorbs the energy and distributes it. So they might be knocked out, but they might not be dead unless they're hitting in the open spaces, kind of like normal, like medieval armor, right? It's like you're not going to get through the armor, but you can get through the open parts of the plate mail, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. So I guess that's how they kind of justify why are you wearing armor if you're shot once and you're dead. Well, they're not necessarily dead because it's distributed the energy of the blaster.
But the
different levels of blasters.
Yeah, exactly. The most important part, though, Steve, how cool it looks on camera. That's the most important. Nothing else matters at all. Maybe it's his intimidation. Maybe it's a brand. It's the Empire's brand. It's stormtroopers, right? If you see a stormtrooper, you know what it is. So you're afraid of it. Whether it's practical or not, the Emperor and they didn't seem too concerned with casualties on their end. Thing.
They just wanted to look ominous and cool.
They look frightening. They'd scare small villages for sure.
So, but like I said, the Mando helmet, I know I'll be able to see perfectly well in it.
Absolutely.
And, we were leaving Walmart the other day. It was a couple days ago. And there was this guy going into Walmart, the whole mask rules and everything. He was wearing it wasn't really a Mandalorian helmet, but it sort of looked like a Mandalorian helmet. Just like shirt, jeans, Mandalorian helmet. Walking proud. He's wearing a mask. Walking proud into there. We're like,
I'm surprised I haven't seen more. I was thinking about that. People just like with costume and superhero and Star Wars gear throughout this,
I've seen different photos of that of people like grocery shopping and a full, like a real Darth Vader costume, like someone probably from the 501st. I would do that. I told my wife I'm getting a helmet and I'm doing that every time we go out. And this is family friendly. I won't tell you what she told me to that, but it wasn't something I would say in church.
There you go. Your wife has a lot of encouraging things for you to. She says.
But I totally need the helmet.
Actually, I keep forgetting. Actually, I have a Darth Vader helmet. I brought it from somebody to make a movie like 10 years ago, and then when I went to go return it, I couldn't find the person anywhere. The person worked in our office. I kept emailing the person, but they never responded back. So I feel so bad. Wow. Yeah, so I'm like, have your helmet still?
I have one of these, the kind of the cheap kids ones.
Yeah, that's what the one is I have too. Yeah.
It has the.
See, mine doesn't speak.
Oh, his talks. Wow.
Wow. See, you look good going to the store with that on. Don't listen to your wife. She has no.
My head is too big for it. It doesn't really fit. But it's funny. During the lockdown, like the first one, so my wife would teach class with the teachers through Zoom, and the teacher, so she's a child counselor working in the classroom, and the teacher wanted to do this May the 4th thing because she knew I was a Star Wars fan. So when the Zoom class came on, I was in my wife's spot wearing this helmet and stuff, and we did a Star Wars craft. We made a Yoda. Well, I kept calling it Baby Yoda. A Yoda craft, and the kids would do it and stuff like that. But I could barely see out of it and fogged up so quickly, and I could barely breathe. So every time the kids were like, "Is that Mr. Fitch in there?" My wife's like, "No, that's Darth Vader." And then I would just keep hitting the buttons, and they were just obsessed. Like, it's got to be him. Is he going to take the helmet off? Because I went to fix it because it wasn't really attached to me. Is he going to take the helmet off? So I kept doing this. And then I wouldn't. I'd be like, and you're like, no. So then, Darth Vader. But I didn't have the rest of the outfit. So it was like this big ogre wearing a Darth Vader helmet in a T-shirt. Like, it was so stupid. But the kids thought it was pretty funny. So that's what I did while I was working. Right. We shared the same office, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
And, so I got to look like a dork, or not look like a dork, but do a little craft with the kids and not say anything.
Well, you said something artificially.
Well, my head, I think, lost 10 pounds from sweating inside of it. But
did your beard stick at the bottom?
No, I tied it up.
Okay.
It would have been funny because
I keep seeing that in my mind's eye with the Vader helmet, the Mandalorian helmet, the beard
sticking out the bottom.
It is. I remember putting the helmet on one time, and someone wanted to like kind of stock photo in this kind of it was a social media group, and I just left it hanging out. It looks so funny. I'm like, here's the picture of me in the helmet, just like this beard hanging out the bottom. And they're like, that's perfect. So, but I would tie it up in my Mandalorian helmet, going to Walmart buying groceries. So, but so I that would be a good place to leave it. I don't want to get into all the Christmas stuff that I want.
Well, if you make a big Christmas list, maybe the viewers will oblige and get you what you want.
Oh my god!
Yeah, there you go.
If your wife won't, maybe your fans will.
Appeal to your fans, Steve. You need this stuff.
I got a rock. That's all I'll be getting. I got a rock.
A lump of coal.
Oh, lump of coal. That's good. All right, guys. Well, thanks to there was a couple of people who made some comments in the chat, and thanks Jamie Francis, and thanks to everyone who watched it live or who will be watching it later. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Again, no booty pics yet on Instagram. We haven't gotten there yet, but be sure to check us out, StarWarsReporter.com. Get all your Star Wars news. Ignore all those other sites. And
right.
tune in next time when we talk about other, I don't know, cool things from nerdy old guys.
Right.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
See you, Steve.
Mm, mm, mm.